Above you is a track. 12 times around that track equals a mile, and so that's kind of a nice amenity that we have here for folks as they're recovering. They have a place that they can get out of the weather and do some walking around. The offices along the north wall here are basically our city offices where we operate the facility out of on this end, and then down on the further end is Christina's crew, where they work and plan on the programming side for the Gateway. In these offices in the corner is where our outreach teams work out of, and they're the ones that are working in this immediate neighborhood and around our community with the encampments that we're all trying to engage. And then as we're going to walk down this hallway, we'll go up a stairway and kind of reconvene. And then right above you is our Violence Intervention Program, Trauma Recovery Center. They're in there and working away as we speak. Did I miss anything? Okay. We're going to go down this hall. We'll catch an elevator up and then reconvene. Follow me.
This is where a lot of our first phase of our projects are happening, and I'm just going to walk us through a little bit about what we're going to see today. This is here the elevator, so to orient yourself, we are right here. Back we have medical respite, and to the right we have sobering. And we're going to go ahead and take a look here at the 3 core services of the Gateway here, which are the overnight beds, we have the first responder drop-off, and the engagement center. Right down the hall we have the Trauma Recovery Center, which is run by the Violence Intervention Program and ACS. And we also have a space that we've designated for UNM, for the Community Health Worker Initiative. And as we mentioned, it's in phases, so what you'll see here is construction for the first phase. The second phase is straight down this hall, and it is in the A wing. The mayor had been mentioning about people who are low acuity, who may need a place to rest just for under 24 hours before we're able to connect them to services. So past these doors, we have about 4 rooms. We also have offices for case management and for intake, as well as a small small area for eating. So this area will really help us provide connections to about 1,500 people per year, or at least provide 1,500 connections and transports to different services. That's a more accurate way of saying it. And really that is so important because people may not know where to go. It may be late at night, a shelter may not be open, and so this is really going to provide that bed. And you can stay here for up to 24 hours. Some people may need just an hour to get connected to services. Some people may need those 24 hours completely. So there are 2 ways of accessing the Gateway, the main Gateway overnight beds. And the first way is through this first responder drop-off. You may come here and somebody may say, I'm ready for housing. In that case, they may walk right over to the Gateway and to the services that are offered there, to the overnight beds. The second way is through referral, and this is another thing that we have worked with the neighborhoods, is really making sure that we are having our nonprofit providers referring people. So this is not a walk-up facility, this is really a facility where when you're ready for housing, we have all the resources here for that. So let's go ahead and walk into the main overnight bed space, and that is right around the corner. The main entrance to the Gateway overnight beds. And this area, we plan on making it look really beautiful. It will look like this. We will have a dog park. Pets are allowed at the Gateway as part of that low barrier model. And we will have tables and benches outside as activities for people to do. We also will have a heat treatment box as people are coming in and bringing in their outside clothes, making sure our facility stays clean. And this area really is the main area for the Gateway. We had the first responder drop-off right there. People may come over here after they are assessed in that area. We'll also have some shaded structures out here as well. Great, so let's walk into the Gateway shelter bed. So here you'll see some of those elements I mentioned outside, the pet relief area, the hot box, its heat treatment, and also a smoking area. So this is sort of the rendition of the outside, and where we came out of was the first responder drop-off, and then now we're coming in now to the resident entry.
Will this be done in fiscal year 23?
Yeah, that is the plan. So we will now move into the shelter. Somebody might come through here, come up these stairs, and what you'll enter here is a waiting area. And we imagine that this welcoming area will have hot coffee brewing, it may have some chairs. You'll see people coming out of the gateway looking at getting their mail. This is really sort of that initial touch point for the gateway. Somebody may come out, a case manager, a peer support worker, and may say, hey, we're ready for you. We received your call ahead, and we'd love for you to come on in and show you where you'll be sleeping. Great, so we are standing now in the common area of the gateway. This is an area with sofas, with TVs, with small tables, a computer area, and this is really built on trauma-informed design. A lot of these spaces will be open, so you can see across your eye in full view. And this is a common room area that we're now standing in. And this is what the architects have, that we're working with, have done this rendition of what the space would look like. And we really want to provide here a lot of access points. In this area, you also might be able to meet with your peer support worker, your case manager, or your housing case manager, which are the 3 core support services that each person gets when they are intaked here into the gateway. We also, on that back side, will have the sleeping areas. So these sleeping areas are built also with trauma-informed design in mind. And we have pony walls that provide privacy. We also have spaces for people to store their things, which is really important for this population. And there is also a peer support worker office in between those beds, in case anybody needs help or needs to access in the middle of the night, needs something. There's always somebody there that is staffed 24/7 that you are able to access should you need access to someone who can help you. We really see that this area would be a big community space. You might be able to bring in, your relative, or somebody is visiting you into this area and talk with them. And that's really an important part for people when they are connecting back again with services, is to also connect with community and to build community and friendships here at the Gateway. And the Engagement Center is a critical piece to our overnight beds, because this is not just a bed, this is also a place where you can access all the resources that you need to be housed. So in these rooms, providers may help you with your birth certificate. They might help you with getting your resume together. They might help you with a haircut. Things as simple as that. And these 4 rooms, there are 9 of these offices, including a large conference room that can be used for art therapy, for AA, and a smaller conference room that can also be used for additional case management. The city will run the engagement center and fill it with different providers based off of what is needed for the people in the shelter.
Okay, so just a point of reference, we basically have come out these doors immediately behind you. We went through the shelter. When we first came in, we came down this hall, turned right, and went out the ramp outside. So what I want to talk to you right now is about the Medical Sobering Center. It's basically going to be built on the other side of this wall. It'll kind of sit like this. I have to spin it around. But it'll be a space for 20 beds. And what'll happen is that first responders in the field will have a set of intake and inclusion exclusion criteria, and so they'll be able to call an on-call nurse and say, hey, I have somebody here, this is their symptoms, this is what we're seeing, this is their vitals, are they eligible to come in? Do you have space for them in this medical sobering center? And the person that's here will have a conversation with them and they say come in. So they'll come up the ramp, they'll meet our 24-hour personnel, go back over the symptoms, make sure that they are suitable to be treated here, and they'll be assigned a bed, they'll be given the personnel, and then the treatment will start. So our first and primary goal here is to keep people safe. They're on the streets. We want them to survive, we want them to live, and the next thing that we want to start doing is making connections with these individuals and building trust. The stay here is less than 24 hours. Quite frankly, most people stay less than 5 hours, at least on their first visits. We expect to see people more than one time. That's good because that gives us a chance to build that rapport, build trust, and connect them with the right services that's appropriate for their needs at that particular time. And so this facility at the first phase, we expect to have about 7,000 bed nights over a period of a year. It's going to look very much similar to what the space we just came out of, so I don't plan on necessarily going in there, but you kind of have an idea of the layout of how that will function. Any questions?
No, I mean, I wanted to get some photos of you working here.
I'm really excited by all of this, but the medical respite space is something that's very much needed in our community. We have, these are the former ICU places, so if you came out of surgery and you were really struggling, you would be housed in here and you would have a lot of special care. We're going to be reutilizing a lot of these rooms for people to stay in. We're recreating some common spaces and care provision. This particular piece of Gateway is a joint venture between the City of Albuquerque, University of New Mexico Hospital, and Albuquerque Healthcare for the Homeless. Healthcare for the Homeless helped us actually do a study for this several years ago. And while there are other medical respite, they tend to be, again, a social model. You don't have the direct medical care. And so people that are in the hospital, let's say I go in and I have a hernia operated on, they say go home, don't lift more than 15 pounds for 2 weeks, keep your dressing clean, and you'll be fine. If I'm a non-housed individual, I give them an address, they'll let me go. I'm back on the streets, I'm toting my backpack, I'm pushing my carts, I'm sleeping on the ground, my wound gets reinfected, and I'm back in the hospital, maybe worse off than I was to begin with. This is going to help hospital readmissions, it's going to reduce first responder calls that are going to be addressing them, and it will actually connect these individuals to housing. We anticipate, based on best practices around the country, that stays in this facility will be between 30 days and 45 days, maybe up to 2 months. It's not going to be specifically time limited, but it will tailor the individual's need. You will have both men and women that will be able to stay here. We will serve meals, and then there'll be care will come in here and be tailored to the needs of each of the individuals.
If they come in with kids, are the kids staying with them here as well?
This is really not suited for kids, and that would be, we'd have to work with some of our partners and family members to see how we can make that work. When we talked about the engagement center, that's right behind this wall. And the idea is you can start seeing the connectivity, right? How close these services are in proximity to one another.